All right, let's talk about what might be one of the most brilliant marketing moves of all time. We're diving into the story behind Coca-Cola's Chinese name. It's seriously a masterclass in branding.
You know, people always ask, what's in a name? Well, for one of the biggest brands on the planet, the answer is a wild story of a near-total disaster turned into an absolute triumph. So, how on earth did they get it so perfectly right?
Yep, you heard me. It involves tadpoles and tasty fun. Sounds weird, I know, but stick with me because this story is all about cultural connection. And it all started not with a stroke of genius, but with a massive branding headache. A headache that came from one simple but huge problem. Okay, so picture this. It's the 1920s, and Coca-Cola is expanding into China. They immediately hit a wall. The name Coca-Cola, well, to Chinese speakers, it was just a bunch of sounds. It meant nothing. So the first idea was, hey, let's just find Chinese characters that sound like Coca-Cola. The result? Let's just say it was not very appetizing. So on the left, you can see that first attempt. The characters were chosen just because they sounded kinda, sorta like Coca-Cola. But here's the thing you have to understand about Chinese characters. They aren't just sounds. They all have meanings. And the meaning they accidentally created was, well, it was bizarre. Bite the wax tadpole. I am not making this up. That was the first pass. It has since become a legendary story of what not to do in marketing. Can you imagine trying to sell a refreshing new drink called Bite the Wax Tadpole? Thankfully, they realized pretty quickly this was an absolute train wreck and went straight back to the drawing board. So, how do you recover from a disaster like that? Well, this is where the story pivots from a cautionary tale into a lesson in sheer genius.
The name they finally landed on, Coca-Cola, is just incredible because it works on two levels. So let's break it down. The first two characters, kěkǒu, pronounced kěkǒu, literally means something like can mouth. But as a common phrase, it just means tasty or delicious. I mean, come on, that's perfect for a drink, right?
But the real magic is in the second half. The characters kělè or kělè literally translate to can be happy. As a pair, they mean joyful or fun. So you're not just drinking something delicious, you're drinking happiness. It's marketing baked right into the name. So you see what they did? They hit the jackpot. The name Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, sounds incredibly close to Coca-Cola. So check, the sound problem is solved. And it carries this amazing positive message, tasty and fun. This is, without a doubt, the gold standard of brand localization. And the success of this name didn't just boost Coca-Cola in China. It completely rewrote the rules for every other international company that wanted to follow them into the market. Just take a look at their biggest competitor, Pepsi. When Pepsi got there, they couldn't just pick some characters that sounded right. They had to play the meaning game too. So their name, Bai Shi Ke cleverly means everything is fun, which you'll notice plays on that same happy theme that Coke established. And that's why this is so important. Coca-Cola didn't just translate a name. They wove their brand into the very fabric of the language. They set an incredibly high bar. Suddenly, it wasn't enough for your brand to just sound foreign and cool. It had to feel right, to have a clever, positive meaning that really resonated. Okay, so we've got the history, we've got the marketing genius, but how do people actually use the name in China today? Let's get practical for a minute. And here's a little pro tip if you ever find yourself there. That big, four-character name, people almost never say the whole thing. In fact, probably 95% of the time, all you need is a much shorter, simpler version. So if you're in a restaurant, you just ask for kělè. That's it. It's the default word for cola, and everyone knows it means Coke. You'd really only pull out the full kěkǒukělè if you needed to be super specific, like if they ask Coke or Pepsi. The long name is mostly for the official stuff, on the cans and the commercials, and when you're talking about the Coca-Cola company itself. When you boil it all down, the story of Coca-Cola proves that the best branding, the best localization, it isn't about a one-to-one translation. It's about creating something new that feels native, something that has a deep cultural and emotional resonance. Which kind of leaves us with this final thought to chew on. For a brand this iconic, where does the product actually end and the name begin? That name, kěkǒukělè, is so powerful, so perfect, it's become completely inseparable from the drink itself. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.